Alright, new project this week. Got the bark blower in. Was doing my regular routine inspection on it when we found something that we didn't want to see back here. And the coolant. That's oil. So that's not good. So we're going to be working on this thing, trying to figure out where this oil is coming from. Obviously the engine, but why is it getting in there? And I have some suspicions, possibly the cylinder head gasket, based off the way it runs. So we got a lot of work ahead of us here. First thing we're gonna do is start by removing this top, this entire thing, pulling it right off the machine, and starting to look into things. Let's get after it. All right, so a little, well, this is Sunday. I'm just grabbing cameras and stuff to make new videos. But I figure I'd give you a little update on this bark blower. We got everything ripped apart. First thing we went after, because we had coolant, or oil in a coolant bottle right here, was the oil cooler. Thinking maybe it was crossing lines. Oil pressure is normally around anywhere from 40 to 80 pounds. And coolant, it's only like, you know, about 15 or 13 pounds. So it's going to take, the higher pressure is going to override. So that's why we thought, okay, oil cooler makes sense. So we pressure tested it. Made this little rigmarole up. Dunked it in a bottle of water. Didn't see any leaks anywhere. So we're assuming that's good. So we ended up pulling the head off. And we found the head gasket was soaking wet on the what side would that be? The right side of the block towards the inside, which happens to be right where all these galleys are for the oil, and some O-rings were worn down, missing, and gone. So basically, we're gonna have to put a new head gasket on it anyway. We sent the head out to get looked at the machine shop. He's gonna check it for straightness and see if he can maybe find a crack in it somewhere that we couldn't see with the naked eye with a Magnaflux. Here's all just the parts. So we got that going. Here's the head gasket. It's still here, I didn't realize. But the one side of it was all wet. This side over here was just soaked. And this O-ring was popped out. And all that sort of jazz. So, yeah, we got to flush the radiator now. Flush the block out. Get all the water out of it. And all the oil that's mixed in there. And then we'll have to put the head back on. But got my blinky light on. Chevy back in the shop again, all sorts of problems. Rear brakes lasted 6,000 miles on good Napa fleet pads. Those are the fronts. So that's not good. I'm trying to figure out why that's doing that, if the master cylinder's not letting the fluid back through or what the problem is. But I got front brakes to do. I got the backup alarm to do. I got to pull the drive shaft out, put a U-joint in it. I got one up there. All sorts of stuff. So, another busy week here in the shop. Okay, back on the bark blower project now. I was head's still off. Got the head back from the machine shop. They said it was all good. They couldn't find anything with it. So we're going to pin it up on the head gasket at this point. Unless this problem comes back again, then we'll do the oil cooler again. But the head gasket, I think, was pretty much a must anyway, once you took the head off, to get it looked at. So today we're just cleaning up parts, getting everything back together, getting everything cleaned. Gaskets are coming in. I'm cleaning up all the surfaces here, and I'm working on the exhaust side now. Then we're going to get this thing going, or back together, hopefully, today, and get it running this week, and hopefully be out the door, ready for work on Monday. So, just using this little flappy disk thing here. This is courtesy of Randy, and he was coming over here and working in our shop on his own truck. He was complaining we didn't have any, so he bought us a whole bunch. So I'm just using that, going away, cleaning up those surfaces, and cleaning up my bolts and getting everything just clean. I gotta go clean the water pump still. And this is the back side. But the front side here, get all this rust and corrosion and crap off. And then once everything's together, we gotta flush the whole cooling system out. Change the oil again. But getting it. Alright, so back on the head job now. Got my gasket, head gasket. Got my head. I was working on this earlier. I got all the surfaces cleaned up. Just put the intake manifold on, just using the RTV, the blue gasket maker. They don't make an intake gasket for this thing, so I use it, steal it up yourself. And heading over to put this exhaust one on next. I do have a gasket for that somewhere in this cluster of stuff. So then the head will be loaded and we'll be able to put the head on the block and with the new gasket, and we'll be back at it another day. All right, got the head on. Time to put the head bolts in and torque these things down. All right, manual says put some oil on the threads. So we'll do that. Get all these bolts in. Unfortunately, I already taken some out. I have to take some back out because I forgot to oil them. This is just going to be sped up.
If it was me, we'd have pieces everywhere and I wouldn't know where the heck they went.
That's why I didn't. All right, head's fully torqued. It was 3 stages. It was a 50-something, 53 foot-pounds, and then an 80, and then a 90-degree turn. So we got that done. So I pulled the intake off, maybe, I don't know. I pulled it off to make sure I could get my 90 degrees. Now I have the push rods going in. Gonna just put a little dab of oil on the end of them before I send them in. And we'll see how far I keep going on this before I decide to give up for the night. It ain't that light, but I don't want to get myself aggravated. This is when you start making stupid errors. It's when you get to late in the day. So that's why I don't like going too far. I would like to get the rocker arms on. We'll see. That's in. That one's in. That's in. That's in. Okay. Put a little, this is all dry, so put a little dab of oil up here on these things. on top of the valves. All right, after a while sitting here trying to figure out why this wouldn't come down, I think I figured it out. There must be pressure on one of these valves. On this valve, the number 2 cylinder intake and the number 4 cylinder exhaust. And it won't let me put the rocker arm on yet because it's too tight. But Alice can put it on and tighten it down. There it goes. Yep, there's the problem. Take it off. Alright, so a little recap. Idiot. Little recap on what we got here. We got the head on. Intake, exhaust gaskets are on. Those manifolds are torqued. Cylinder head's torqued. And new gaskets in, obviously. The next step, I'm going to have to torque these rocker arm bolts, tighten that all up. Then I can put the valve cover on and kind of get that all, keep that clean. And then we'll be torquing the glow plugs, torquing the injectors. And then I got to put the water pump on without the thermostat. I'm going to run the hose through it and try to flush out the rest of this nastiness in there. There's a lot of soot or oil still in there. I got this container here. I got to do something with that. I don't know what yet. It's full of oil. I got to get all that cleaned out. I got the filter back on and the cooler on. That's all tight and ready to go. That bracket must be for that. So we're getting there. It's just time-consuming little things and taking your time, doing it right the first time, so we're not back here in a short time to do it again, because I don't want to do this again. This is a lot of work. Not a lot of work, but it's a lot of, you know what I mean. If you don't have to do a head gasket, I don't think you do a head gasket if you don't have to. So, all right. See you next time. All right, to wrap up this video on the bark blower, it's now July 3rd, 22, and I started filming this back in March. Anyway, we got it all back together. It's all in one piece. We've ran it for 3 months, and as of right now, the coolant, now you can't even see it, but the coolant's green, no black in it, no more oil. So we're gonna chalk this up on a proper diagnosis that the head gasket was in fact bad, although it still spits and sputters and pops and blows whitish blue smoke. There's no oil in the coolant, which is good, and system's staying pretty clean. So we'll chalk it up as a W, and that's it. So thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.